Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Marco Rosa, man. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. You've been around the community. You've been on the podcast before, but I'm excited to dive a little bit deeper and get some updates from you because you always have a lot going on, and it's exciting for me. So how about I let you do the intro and just kind of, for anyone who didn't listen previously, who you are, what you do, how you train, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir. I'm originally from Italy. I moved in the U.S. in 2012, and between one thing and another, now I work as a former military. Now I work as a software engineer in Florida, and I've been with Garage Gym Athlete since probably half of last year.
Yeah,
it's been awesome so far. I mean, I dove in right away with the coach course, but then started doing the actual training with GGA. And I mean, I cannot say enough good things about it. I've seen so much results. It's insane.
Yeah, you did kind of go in reverse there, didn't you? I didn't realize that. You're like, you know what? How about let's start with a coaching course and then I'll try out your programming. That's awesome, man. So tell me a little bit more about your setup. I can see it here on screen, but no one else can, unfortunately, if they're listening. So what do you have?
Yeah. So as soon as I was done with all the rest of the training that I had to do for different events, I got involved with GGA, and so I started looking at everybody's gym, and it was just, I had to get my own. And my wife was nice enough to let me borrow, as you can see, just a part of the living room to set up my really small and very compact Garage Gym Athlete. So the gym has a built, with the help of a friend, because I would have never been able to do it, rack. And then I have a box, a full-on like 30, 24, 20 box, a 20-pound med ball, all sorts of mats, about 230 pounds worth of weights for the bar. The bar in the corner, my pride and joy, the rower.
Nice, man.
The rower. And that's pretty much it. I have a vest over there with a bunch of patches, and that's pretty much it. That's all I use. Body weight and then outside. Oh, and I have the outside pull-up bar that I can use for kipping and stuff like that.
That's incredible, man. You've come a long way, because I think the last time we spoke, you didn't have any of that. Is that right?
Yeah, that was right after or almost right after the hurricane. So yeah, we barely had a house at that point.
That's awesome. And how does that, I get a lot of questions about this. Yours looks awesome. How's it the wooden power rack situation holding up? Because it looks like you did a combination of like a PRX performance, like how, and I have the same type of Rogue rack. It's connects to the wall, so you got to connected to some studs, and those look like maybe 4x4s on the wall. 4x4s holding up the main structure. So how do you like the wooden squat rack and pull-up bar?
So far, I like it, man. You pretty much got it exactly right. There's 4x4s, a couple of, and the rack is attached to the wall through the studs, and it's got a small pull-up bar. I don't really use it much except for like stretching and when we do not heavy, not too much movement type of exercises that I can do inside. For everything else, I use just the outside pull-up bar. I don't trust this one that much, especially because if by any chance I get the walls messed up, I'm in trouble
Right.
with the wife. So, but everything else works perfect. As you can see, I have two sets of holes on the 4x4. One is at front rack and back rack position height. The other one is at the exact height for me to be able to do bench work from the floor. But other than that, it works great. I mean, it's compact and it stays in this little 6x4 or 6x8 corner of the living room, so that I'm not in anybody's way. And I work out so early in the morning that there's barely anybody around, so I have to be very quiet. The only bad thing about it is that every time I have to work out, I have to pull everything out, which I usually do at night, the night before. And then after the workout, I have to put everything back in. So what I usually do, I go through the app, see what I need, pull it out, and then have it ready for me in the morning, and then just put everything back in place.
That's just a good habit, man. I have to do the same thing because my wife has to park the car in the garage. So I gotta put everything away when I'm done.
Yeah,
so you're just like straight up in the living room. That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir. I mean, I can show you real quick. I mean, you can see there is the rest of the living room, and I'm pretty much across from the kitchen.
That is awesome. This might be the coolest like garage gym athlete story we have. So it's just like it's a part of your space, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And everybody that walks in the house sees it and asks question, which is a good opportunity for me to bring up GGA.
That's really cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't have a garage. It's just a little townhouse in Florida on the lake, and we don't have much space outside. And quite frankly, it rains so much here and so humid, I didn't want to mess everything and the equipment up. So I got approved before I even bought everything to put it in the corner. Once the boss lady said yes, I was good to go.
Good to go, man. Yeah, that's what I know those special operations gyms down in Florida at Hurlburt Field. You know, I worked out at those a lot, and they're great for about the first year. And then all of that, salt in the air and just ridiculous humidity and everything, it'll ruin your equipment in about 18 months. Like, and I'm talking like straight ruined. Like it ruined Concept 2 rowers. The barbells were like so rusted over, you couldn't see the knurling anymore. So I think you've made a smart decision putting it inside as opposed to leaving it outside.
Oh yeah, 100%. And especially with the rower. I mean, I had to play it with the rower because I wasn't going to get one. But then because all the racks that I was looking at were really wide and they would have taken even more space in the living room. So I proposed an exchange to my wife. I told her, look, the rower, you can use it. You don't work out much because you're blessed with good genes and you don't have to work out and stay in shape. But you can use the rower and we can split the price of the rower. And I'm not going to buy the big bulky rack. I'm going to build it with a friend of mine and I'm going to make it smaller so you don't have to look at it. And she agreed.
That's awesome. That's really cool, man. So what was the big reason behind, I mean, I feel like I kind of got the feel of it, but maybe I'd like to hear a little bit more instead of like why build a garage gym in your living room, but more what has been your fitness journey over the last couple of years leading up to now.
Absolutely. So, I mean, since I got in the US permanently after the military, I always felt that sense of like the lack of that cohesiveness that you have when you're in the military and the brotherhood and stuff. So I was always looking for the workout buddies and a group of people that I can relate to. And I always found that in the military, or at least personnel around here. And I'm in a part of Florida where you have a bunch of different bases around. So I got involved with that, and then I started discovering stuff like SEAL Fit and their community. And as you know, I did the Kokoro event and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, while I was doing the Kokoro and doing all sorts of different workouts, which I mean, none of them comes even close to GGA, especially in terms of like quality and results. But as I got involved with that, I wanted to do more into fitness. I got to really started liking what I was doing in fitness and trying to help out others with fitness. And then I came across you and EO3 and GGA. And because you had the only program out there that actually concentrates so much on doing programming the way it's supposed to be done, properly balancing all the different contractions and all the different planes of movements. I was so interested in it. I mean, we had a conversation. I jumped on the course, got certified, and I got certified like not even a week before or after graduating Kokoro. So after that, I finally had the chance to jump on one of the GGA tracks. I started with the no gear, but I did every single workout with that vest back there, every single one, no matter what was called for. And I got in so incredibly good shape just doing that. And I was like, okay, hooked. That's it. There's nothing else I need to do. I just need to pick another track and try them out. So I jumped on shred as soon as I came back from Nepal, and I've been there since.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool to kind of hear that story. And I think you've been pushing me to do a sandbag track too. I think you probably wouldn't mind seeing that. A lot of athletes have told me the same thing. Like,
Oh yeah, I love that
odd implement type track. It's under consideration. So what are some of your goals now, man? You've done quite a lot of stuff. So I mean, what's left to do?
Well, now what I'm concentrating on is getting as much education as possible in both what I do as the job that pays the bill for now, in terms of software engineering, but also in terms of fitness and conditioning, strength and conditioning. I am in the process of getting the books and all the material that I need to get one of the national strength and conditioning certifications. And I'm probably going to go for a second one as soon as I get my bachelor degree. And I'm just enjoying 110% the GGA community. A bunch of us are going again for that beast in November and in North Carolina. And I can't wait. I mean, I smile and laugh so much just talking to these people that are part of our GGA family. I can't wait to just hang out with them. So that's all I'm concentrating on, trying to get better in fitness so that I can help more people and just enjoying the community.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, we missed you in November this past year. I think you would have really enjoyed that misery. But I'm going to try and make it out to, if not Asheville and that one. If I can make both, it's gonna be one or the other. But if not, if I can, I'm going to do both. So maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, I miss you guys, but unfortunately, I was on the other side of the world in November. There,
right? Yeah, climbing up a mountain or something, right?
Yeah, just little small one.
That's awesome, man. All right, so how do you like training in your living room? I'd be curious to know if that presents any challenges, or does it all seem to work out? Tell me all about it.
The only relatively small challenge is the fact that sometimes I have to walk outside to do kipping or like toes to bar and stuff like that I need to use the outside pull-up bar, or I have to walk outside the door to go run the distances and stuff. But because I've been working out of my house in general for the last 2 to 3 years, I got to a point where there's no excuse. I mean, I'll find a way. And that's why I like to look at the workouts about, like on Sunday when you guys publish them, I'll look at the whole week and figure out what I need to do every day to get it situated and get everything ready to go for me to, again, not come up with excuses, not because I already get up at 4:00 in the morning and I'm half asleep. If I don't have everything set up, I might try to go the route of maybe I don't do this. I don't even want to get there. So I just get everything ready so I have no excuses. And if I start whining, I pretty much tell myself to do it anyway.
Yeah, man. I think, and with it being immediately in your living room, so you walk in your front door, you see it, it's hard to come up with an excuse when it's just like, if it's in the garage, you can at least kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But if you're like, I just don't feel like it today, and then you walk into your freaking living room, you're like, oh yeah, I probably should. Have you run into the days where you just don't feel like it?
No, I mean, there are some days that I'm really tired, maybe, but I mean, even on those days, I just go through the motions. If I really cannot lift something that day, maybe I'll go a little lighter, but I usually try not to because it's an excuse. And I mean, it feels so good afterwards that doesn't matter how bad I can feel at the beginning of it or when I'm about to, because I don't want to do it because I want to be lazy. Just the feeling of it that you get afterwards, and it's worth just pushing through.
I agree, man. Now, something I'd love to hear, because you're going to have an interesting perspective on it, and a perspective most of us don't have. I'd love to hear about, fitness in Italy versus fitness here. And is there a difference at all? If so, kind of what's the idea or difference in the cultures?
Well, I can speak for what I see from my friends back home, because when I was in Italy, I was relatively young. In Italy, it's not like the US. So in high school, you don't play so many sports, you don't have this many teams and stuff like that. And even in college, like there's not such a big sports culture like there is in the US. So if you want to play a sport or you want to do something, you have to do it on your own time after school. So I didn't get involved too much until I got in the military academy. And once you're in the academy, it's not very much controlled, proportional fitness with proper reps and stuff. And they just try to push you through. It's boot camp type of mentality, even at the academy for officers. So and I got lucky because I started training with like spec ops guys and stuff that were getting us ready for the US Navy flight schools. So I just got pretty much pushed through a bunch of different exercises, trying to get us to suffer and be quiet about it. But I can see a lot of friends of mine, old high school buddies of mine that are into CrossFit and other types of exercises. I would say from what I can see, the fitness perspective is not as popular as it is here. And there's not that much concentration of it. It's also organized differently in terms of like gym and wellness centers and things like that. But it's also true that the type of food that they consume in terms of like macros and in terms of quality of food, it's a little better over there. From what I can tell, there is less garbage. Just like Ashley was mentioning about England and the fact that she misses the meats and the food over there. It's the same with Italy. So that there isn't much of that rush to go to the gym to lose weight. It's rather more of I go to the gym because I want to get better. I want to be able to lift more weights, strength, conditioning, all that type of things. Then you always have the ones that are a little bigger that want to lose weight and all. It's in general, I would say it's the same, similar to the US, just smaller scale and with a different approach to it rather than what you have here.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really more what fitness should be in some regards of like, hey, let's go do this thing that makes us better, as opposed to like, how can I lose 100 pounds in the next 10 days? I feel like that is a very American approach most of the time, unfortunately, people trying to do whatever they can to cut the weight.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that they do miss, though, that they don't have, except for Spartan races, they don't have those crazy events that you guys have here. Like, I don't think they have Go Rucks that go all the way to Italy. Definitely there's no Seal Fit events. I know they do have Spartan races because they do it all over the world. And I have a couple of friends that have done Ironmans and Norseman or things like those. But yeah, you can't find those crazy events like they have it here in the US. And that was a big part of me growing up into the fitness. Once I got here, it really pushed me through it.
Yeah. And so what's your primary goal right now in fitness?
Well, I'm on shred track, so that should tell you conditioning, shredding as much as possible. I haven't lost much weight. I only lost something like 8 pounds since I've been on the different tracks, but I gained so much muscle mass. It's ridiculous. And this is a comment that my wife made. She said that I look more masculine now because I'm whole buffed up a little and stuff. So she's super happy about it.
Well, that's good. That's always good to hear that from the wife.
That's my main goal. And but now, as soon as we finish this cycle, I'm probably going to be switching to endure. because I want to be ready for the beast, and because based on someone else that you had on the podcast that tempted me to it, I want to do a what's it called, one of the another obstacle race related to seals, the frog something.
Oh yeah, Greg mentioned it, right? It's
Yeah, Greg. And Greg is the one that got me to it. And he said that there is one that is like I believe it's like 9 miles or 12 miles type of race with all the obstacles. The bone frog.
Bone frog,
And
yeah.
so, yeah, now he told me I should be doing that. So that means I'm going to be doing that as well, either this year or next year. So I need to be ready.
That's awesome. Yeah, just man, everyone, there's Trampus, there's Greg, there's all these people who are gonna like just rope you in one event at a time, and then I'm sitting on the sidelines just trying to hook people for 100-mile bike race here and there. And so
Trampus, go ahead.
What were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna say Trampus is the one that got me on the Spartan for November. So
yeah, that's what he does. That's what he wants everyone to go do, that horrible race. Awesome, man. Well, it's cool to hear the updates so far. I want to also see if there are updates to some of the questions we've asked before. So what's the hardest workout you've ever done, and has it changed?
No, it has not changed. I mean, it keeps being Marf for me. I'm probably gonna have to, at some point, do exactly what you did. Do it for a whole year so that I get conditioned to it and just get over with it. It's just my kryptonite is the push-ups. It's not even the pull-ups, because I can push those easy. It's the push-ups for some reason just kicks my butt, man. So.
Yeah. And they do for a while. I know you get them real fast and you lose them real fast. And so I know that was my limiting factor the first year I did Murph, and then I got really good at them. And then the second year I did Murph, it probably took like 6, 8, 10 weeks, something like that, to get them back again. Like, so they lost. I was fatiguing, and I wasn't used to it either. Like, you end week 52, take some time off, and then you start over at week 1, and you feel like you should just, always be able to do the push-ups. But then you're like, I'm getting tired. Like, I can't do any more push-ups. And so, yeah, it can be a huge limiting factor. And I think that is the biggest one, really the only limiting factor I've had. You can always push a mile time a little bit faster, but 5 pull-ups at a time is fairly like unbroken. So yeah, those push-ups will get you every time.
Oh yeah, and I mean you can do the squats as fast as you can, and I mean the pull-ups, you can kip them, so it's not that big of a deal. It's only 5 if you do the 20 split. But yeah, the miles and with the vest on and the push-ups, and it's just a killer. And I mean, I have to say it's much easier to do it with the vest than doing it with the backpack, like I was doing when I was getting ready for the events. That backpack just gets everywhere and it messes you up like nothing else. But it's still one of the hardest workout that I've done. I have to say though, the stairway to heaven that we did this last weekend, take a pretty good shot at
it. Yeah, that's a brutal one as well. Yeah, I've done Murph with the backpack, and it is very different. The kipping is different, and you're just not as efficient. It's very different. I know my time was a little bit slower when I throw a backpack on.
Yeah. It's normal. I mean, everyone that I follow as an athlete that is using the backpack, like the first time they use it, it's like, oh my God, this is horrible.
I mean, well, has this answer changed? So what's, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
It stayed pretty much the same. Just do the things that you don't want to do. Just like we were talking about earlier. You don't want to work out. Just do it. Just push yourself through it. And it doesn't have to be anything heavy. It's just putting yourself into the mindset that if something comes up that you don't want to do it, that's exactly the moment you need to be doing it.
Yeah, it's your North Star. I love it. All right. If you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be? And has this changed?
No, it's still the rings, and Joe's going to be happy about it. But I mean, I'm really starting to enjoy the barbell and the plates, but that's cheating because that's two equipment. So
No, we've given a pass for a lot of people. So if you want the barbell and the plates, you can have them.
No, the rings, just because when I do the ring dips and I have the TRX, I don't have actual wooden rings. They destroy me like nothing else, just doing those. So.
All right. So being that Joe's not here, a question he likes to ask is if you could have any piece of equipment, from your wish list, what would it be? What's on your list right now? If you could get it today, what would it be?
The Airdyne. I don't have that.
Yeah. Just going to increase those conditioning pieces of equipment that make your life more miserable. That's a good idea. Yeah. All right, man. Last question of the show. What's the best advice you have for all the garage gym athletes out there listening?
Don't ever leave. Just stick to GGA. There's nothing better out there. Just don't even try to look. Don't even. Just stick with us. It's fun. The community is awesome. There's nothing better. I am literally laughing and happy with myself just looking at the community. There is really nothing better. Just stick to it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And I don't even say that most of the time because I know if they leave, they'll probably come back. That's what normally happens. They're like, oh, I tried something else and like it wasn't. I'm like, yeah, that's how it goes. Well, Marco, it's always fun catching up with you, man, and just getting to hear a little bit more about your story. And I'm sure this won't be the last time we chat on the podcast, but I do appreciate your time and thanks for being around.
Same here. Thanks
for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.